Hello everyone, welcome back to this episode of Bitcoin Trade here. And, uh, and in this episode here, I'm going to basically do a chart analysis. And so if you just look at this chart, it's a 12-hour and it's Bitstamp, okay? And if you just look at this chart, you can kind of tell that it's been going down in price. So if you look at this long trend, it's been going down, and it's been starting to go down here at this price level, which was about let's say what, 620. So from 620, ever since this drop right here, it's never been able to really recover. So if you look at these two periods, 10 period weighted average here, and then 25 probably, I'm not sure, but anyways, I just use 2. You can use like 15 and get a nice little rainbow color going here, but I don't know if that would help you. Anyways, so here you go, and you'll see that it's never really crossed over, not this whole time. So if you're all looking for an indication or a sign or just a signal, a couple things. I've mentioned before that you can just wait for a higher high to be higher than the last high, and that will signal to you that it's about to turn over. The other way to know is if you get any of these, and I'm looking at a 12-hour. So if you just look, that you'll see that it's pretty much on this 12-hour. You could see that there's this downtrend and there's a gap, and all you have to do is probably, if you really want to wait to buy on an up movement or buy onto an uptrend or starting of an uptrend, you can wait for these two lines to cross over. In other words, this 10 period moving above this 25 period average, in which then you'll start realizing that maybe there is a uptrend pattern, because just as everything that, I guess not everything, but what goes up must come down. Well, yeah, generally that's true. But oddly enough, when it comes to chart analysis, the opposite is also true. Not all the time, especially when a commodity or a stock or a company dies, or an idea dies. If it goes down, it usually stays down, and that usually means it's dead. But I don't really believe or think Bitcoin is dead in any way, shape, or form. So, what goes down also goes up again. All right. So, one of the reasons why I think Bitcoin is not over with is the fact that there's a heavy interest in it. It's more usable than it was before. And to think that just because the price goes down, that has a correlate meaning that it's the currency value is somehow dead. It's not entirely true, because it could be the other part is this is a trade that you may not have thought of, or when it comes to, and Bitcoin acts like a currency. It's paired up against another currency, right? And so if it's Bitcoin to US dollar, the fact that Bitcoin's been going down in price may not be anything wrong with Bitcoin itself as far as its value. It could be the other pair, which is the US dollar, maybe have gotten stronger. And, you know, it does have an inverse relationship. So as the dollar gets stronger, there is a chance that Bitcoins can become weaker, or an inverse effect of the price going down. I don't know how true that is, but I did read an article where the dollar has been gaining in value versus other currencies, and so if you pair that with the Bitcoin, it could be that the US dollar has recently gotten stronger. I don't know. But anyways, I'm looking at it a different way where and I'm going to pull back and let's just go to some other charts. Well, let's first look at some of the other pricing here. So just looking at the other prices. So there's Bitstamp at 376.50, and then there's excuse me. There's Bitstamp at 376.50. There's Bitsy at 367. Now that's almost almost $10. I've seen it to $11. When I see those prices here, Bitfin is at 373, which is lower than Bitstamp, and then the Chinese is actually in par with Bitstamp, and probably Coinbase is probably par with that. So what's interesting for me to see is that the Bitsy is now lower. Bitfin is also a little bit lower, but you know, Bitfin always moves up and down. Sometimes it's the highest, sometimes it's lower than these three anyway. Bitsy's always been lower. So when I see this, I see normalization again. Could mean a couple things. Could just mean sideways here, temporary sideways with a big jump, only to go back down, and now it's going sideways again. So when I see that, that could just mean sideways. But what I'm really looking for is how much difference between BitC and the highest price of all these exchanges, even to some degree the Chinese exchange, because it's, I can see US dollars here instead of this number here, which is, you know, 2,309 and 81 yuan or whatever it is. It doesn't make any sense to me, but in US dollars that's what it is. So when I look at that, I'm seeing some great buying opportunities. Now I'm going to pull back a little, and of course, you know, I'm a little biased in a lot of ways because I'm always long Bitcoins, but you know, let me go back to a daily so you can all see this. And to some degree, I'm going to go back to the whole thing so you can see everything. Okay, so you know, the way I see it is that if you look at the price here, and I wanted to pull back to give everyone to get a better perspective here. I think this right here, this low, is gonna be the support. Now, this is you really got to pull back to kind of get a better idea, because really there's nothing else to look at other than the whole thing now to find out where the support line is going to be. So this is kind of where it crossed over, and it does show that crossing over on a 3-week period. And you see that it's gotten really big here. It's going down, and this is just coming out. And whenever I see a big gap like this, either going up or going down, I always have a sense that it's been oversold, and now there could be a chance for it to bounce up, at least to hit this top line here, this top average here, the 25 period average, and that's price is at 500, about 500. So, I mean, it could go from what it is now at 375 to up to around 500, maybe 490. And so, there's a good chance that it could do that. That's just the way it works. You know, when the sellers exhaust themselves and there's no more to sell because they've all sold to whatever, you know, virtual uh, currency pair, in this case US dollar, and when they've all sold out and gone into the US dollar, um, you know, at some point, they can either do a couple things. You know, you can, if you're at certain exchanges, you can cash them out. You can wire your money back and just sit on it, or leave it at the exchange, whatever you want to do. In any case, if you want to get back in it, you're going to have to buy Bitcoin, right? And so, just to give you an idea, this is kind of like 200 right here. This is a little bit before or after Silk Road. And so, if you look at this and it goes up, there's a couple ways to see it here. When I first got in, I bought it around 250. And, you know, if any of you have missed out on anything before this period here, and you were trading here, and you were considering buying here but you didn't, well, you have a second chance. As this price goes down and down, it's almost like you're given another chance to believe in the use of Bitcoin. And so when I see this, I don't think Bitcoin is dead. It seems like so many people have a real stake, a nice juicy stake at the end of the finish line, if they can just reach that finish line. You know, there's a nice big juicy stake. But anyways, there's a lot of people who have a lot of stake here, and who have proof of their stake by actually owning Bitcoins. And this is, for me, when I look at it, I see the potential, and then I guess the downfall, because all this started happening after Mt. Gox and all this other things which drove the market just up and down like crazy. You know, so I see the potential, the downfall, and then the reprieve, the second chance. So, you know, as the price goes down further and further down, you have to consider yourself, well, you're almost getting a second chance at getting into Bitcoin. Now, for me, I'm always buying and selling. And I've been buying and selling since $250. And my experience with this big uprise here has really changed my life. By the way, I didn't benefit from any of this uprising because all my trades were at that time on Mt. Gox, if you see my previous episode. So I didn't really benefit from all this, but ironically, where I benefited from was because of the collapse of Mt. Gox, that I started diversifying my trading through other exchanges and in real life, both local Bitcoins and, you know, non-local Bitcoins, in private exchange and private escrows. And since then, I've been making my gains all throughout this time while it was going up and down, up and down. And so from here to here, I've still been trading, and I've still been making my gains, mainly due to the fact that Mt. Gox imploded, ironically. And so so when I look at this, I almost say to myself, you know, a lot of things happen for strange reasons, strange and very mysterious reasons. And so when I look at this whole picture, and this is a three day, you know, period, so I could look at the whole thing. It's almost like, okay, you see the potential, you saw the downfall, now you're seeing a reprieve or a second chance. So for all those out there who kind of complained how it was too expensive to get Bitcoins, or it's too late, you missed out, or whatever, anytime anytime right here or below the here is a second chance for anyone to get in and experience what it is, what Bitcoin is. And so that's how I'm seeing it. Now for me, I cannot believe the amount of Bitcoins that I'm getting for the same amount of price, or the same amount of money that I've been paying for Bitcoins all this time. I mean, it's like, wow, it's amazing how many Bitcoins I'm getting. Literally, I'm amazed. And every chance I have, I'm stashing a little bit for myself, as a way to some of the Bitcoins that I get, I'm stashing away because I'm really anticipating a big move. And so this concept and this idea that Bitcoins can go up to 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, $1 million, infinity. You know, I still believe that it will, and there's no reason why it wouldn't. And so when I see this, and I'm buying Bitcoins, and every time it goes down and I'm buying Bitcoins, I'm getting more Bitcoins. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you missed out before and you felt like you couldn't buy in, or you couldn't buy a Bitcoin at some of these higher prices around here and up here, well, here's your second chance. As it's going down, you're getting a second chance to get into the Bitcoin trade. And so, you know, that's what I have to say for that. Now, as far as this chart analysis, I'm going to use this as a low point because these two were used multiple times, and it looks like they've broken down and fallen. Now, the thing to watch out for is this price on Bitstamp, which is about 340. It's nearing that price level, and it'll be interesting if it really does touch on it, because if it falls anymore, the gap's going to get wider between these two average lines here. And when I see large gaps, I also realize there's a chance for a bounce back, because again, when the sellers exhaust themselves and they got no more Bitcoins to sell, although miners may still want to sell, but if they keep driving the price down, they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna last too long. You know, they're just gonna drive themselves out of business or out of the market. And then what eventually happens is, you know, there won't be any more sellers. The amount of sellers will be less, and there'll be more buyers, and again, that would drive the price up. So that's what I'm seeing here. And every time I see the big gap right here, now this has been a big downtrend here. Now every time I see a big gap here, I just think, you know, you should make some strategic buy areas anywhere around here and at this price, and maybe even below, just in case a little flash crash happens and it bounces right back up and shoots up like crazy. You know, anywhere around this price and below that price, it's a good opportunity. So that's my basic chart analysis and just basic average lines. Now let's use this same thing for other exchanges. Let's see what BitC comes out with. BitC's a little different. Here's this major crash. Now BitC, you can do a couple things here. You could use this, which is this particular candlestick here, this particular low. It also encompasses this low, and it's also very close to here. Or you can go down a little further and you can pick this as a low, this particular low here, and you could say, well, it needs to go down a little bit more, and that price would be at 306 here, 306.02, so $306.02. And so anywhere here and below, a little bit below that area, you can probably put in your buy orders or limit orders, and you know, as these two lines get further and further away, you know, after the sellers exhaust themselves, you experience a really good bounce back up, because, well, the sellers exhaust themselves. They put themselves out of the market. Now if they want to get back into it, they have to buy Bitcoins. And so there's another option. Another scenario which you don't see on the other charts is this flash crash here, and that would be like the next price level in which it would go down, right here. Now that's about $93 or $100, somewhere around there. So if it breaks below here on this line, so if it breaks below here, starts breaking down below, you probably expect it to go somewhere around 93, $100 to continue to go down. Now, knowing that, wouldn't you want to put some buy orders at around $100 or maybe $110, just in case you know, BitC does a little flash crash here, and probably does a little flash. It wouldn't be flash crash; it'd be like flash bash. I don't know. It would spike up again. So there's that. Let's try Bitfin. Now, Bitfin doesn't have too much history to it, so but again, you can get an idea. Here's the same idea here. Whatever the price is, around it says 339, so 340, same thing. But if it breaks, but if it breaks below that line, that's going to be your next $100. So it's going to drop here. If it breaks it, it may drop in around here in this zone down to almost near $100. So those are some things you got to watch out for. And why not? We'll just do the Chinese exchange. Let's see what they come up with, or let's see what they have. Something similar, but nothing too drastic. Nothing like the $100. You see some of the other exchange charts, but same idea. Like right about here is probably the low point. Here, and then you also see it here. So with the Chinese exchange, you could kind of see a different pattern here. That this is probably the support line here, and if it breaks down, I don't know where it's going to go, but most likely I think it's going to probably be somewhere right around here at this price level somewhere. Anyways, everything I've seen supporting this being a support, which the price right now is very close to that support. All you have to do is just wait to see if it breaks down, or if it goes sideways a little bit. If it goes sideways a little bit, you know, buying at this price level, a small amount is worth the risk, because if it does go back up, your small amount becomes a very big amount, and then, you know, it's cheaper than what it was here, 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 or even here. Anyways, So that's that. And let me go to Bitfin now and do a chart analysis on that, since they are uh, the leading US dollar exchange here. So that's kind of what I see here. So you can see that on the 12-hour, you can see the gap starting here, and then you see that. So one of the ways you could see a turnaround is that the two lines will cross over, and once you see that, that could be the buying signal you're looking for. Just wait for another dip to happen, and then, or put some support lines in there, or support buys, and then when it dips down, you might want to buy manually or whatever you're doing, and see what happens. If it continues to go up, then you made a very good trade. If it continues to go down, it was worth the risk in trying it. Again, for the money you probably would have spent before to buy Bitcoins to what you're buying now, you would get a lot of Bitcoins. Anyways, that's the quick chart analysis. Hopefully this helps you. If y'all want to know how it's trending, well, you just have to look at the chart, and if you notice that the price is higher here, the price is lower here, it's been trending down. But eventually, well, hopefully, you would think that, you know, the sellers would exhaust, or the miners will stop selling if they're selling onto the exchanges, because they're not going to be able to pay their bills, and they're not going to be able to keep up with the mining. You know, this price drops and the difficulty rises, so eventually they won't be able to sell anymore at all, because they've pretty much you know, gone in the negative, so they would just stop selling. Matter of fact, they may even get out of mining altogether, and they'll leave you know, a lot of the larger mining rigs and mining pools at that point, but a smaller amount of miners. So that would reduce the sell-off, you would think, but you never know about Bitcoin. That's the crazy part. Anyways, that is my quick chart analysis. Hopefully this would help you. For me, right now, the way this price is moving, it'd be worth it just to put some buy orders here if you can, or you can even put some limit orders below the low and see what happens. Because often when it rides on, and you can kind of see it, it's been riding on this average line, the bottom portion of it. And so if it's not going further down than the lower low, then that means that this trend down has stabilized, and then it could mean a move up, if that makes sense. The other danger is, because it's on the bottom portion of this average line, it's kind of trending down, so it may if it can't break through, it could continue to go downwards, and the gap is going to just get larger to the point where it's really big. Then you know, do some average cost buying, buy, you know, X amount every so often, and really you're not, you know, your average costing, you're somewhere in the middle. Like, for example, you know, like, let me see, 500 to 400. If I bought a Bitcoin at every $20 interval, my average cost would be 450, not, you know, 500 or 400, but it'd be somewhere in the middle, like as if I bought. So that's how I do some of my trades, but it's on a smaller scale. Instead of you know, let's say let's see what the price is. Okay, let's say between 400 and 375. You know, doing some average costing or average buying at that interval price, it becomes very marginal on per Bitcoin basis. And when you fractionalize it, even gets smaller, it becomes even more and more marginal. So those are some of the strategies you can use. Just average cost buying and average cost selling. Um, you know, and just look for the opportunity or the signals or anything that you see as an opportunity to buy. Just go ahead and buy. At some point you've got to make a risk versus rewards, a decision, and you just can't sell all the time and expect to make any money. You eventually you do have to buy, and buying in at a lower price and selling at a higher price would be ideal, or selling at a higher price and buying back in at a lower price. So anyways, try some of those strategies out and see how they work for you. I employ I buy little bits amount, and I spread them across a range of price. And so if the price does move downwards, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket at a certain price level. I'm putting a lot of my eggs in different pricing levels, and that would ensure that I can mitigate some of the risk if it continued going down further, or I can make a lot of gain if it went up. So those are some things that you can do. So if you're already sold and you're waiting on the sidelines, these are some ideas that you can employ. Other than that, there's not much going on for me to talk about. Sorry if I've been if the period in which I make the videos are longer. It's just because I am more busier, and I'm running out of time in the day where I can make these videos, upload it, and put my links onto there. But at least I'll make a video. My videos may be coming out less frequently because it's my Bitcoin trading in real life has how can I say this? I guess it's becoming more and more successful as more and more I trade in the physical world. And there's nothing wrong with that. I also trade on the exchanges, and there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just that you got to have a good plan and good strategy, and a style of or a way in which you can trade. And so the trick is, if you know it's a downtrend, you have to come up with a strategy and plan for trading on a downtrend. And if it's just ranging, you have to change. So you have to adapt the way you trade based on the trend, and the trend is going down. So however you want to come up with your own strategy, that's perfectly fine. I'm just giving you some ideas, some of the strategies that I employ, and it does mitigate my risk. It also I guess I'm fortunate enough to take advantage of my buying opportunities, because at these prices I'm just getting more and more Bitcoins. So I'll just keep buying on the way down, and eventually, if I'm wrong, then I've pretty much lost my money. But if I'm right, I've made strategic decisions at certain price levels that in the future will greatly benefit me. I only have two options: either to make it or not to make it. And so for me, I want to make it. I want to make it all the way to the finish line and finish this race and go get my juicy steak after I show them my proof of stake, and make it real. Make it real. So when the price goes down, you shouldn't be deterred. And there's been a lot of articles I've been reading about how price doesn't matter, and I have to agree to a certain degree that that is true. Especially if you're very long in Bitcoin, the price doesn't matter because you can. The great thing about, again, what I am doing is because I'm a user. The being a user gives you a tremendous amount of advantage, and one of those advantages is that you can ride out a downtrend, because even if no one, if the price is not to your liking, okay, and or if you shorted, in other words, you've exit your Bitcoin position and you're into a US dollar position, one of the things you can do, because you're a user and not just someone who's just trying to sell Bitcoins, you can use your Bitcoin dollar for dollar if you've already shorted. So if you already sold out here, and you made your trades here and you sold out here, and you've done well, and you've been trading here, and then you sold out here, and then you bought in here, and then you popped up, you sold, and then it's gone down. While you've hit your mark on the tops of some of these, if you don't want to buy Bitcoins with your US dollars, one of the ways you can use it, you can either, if you're on some of the exchanges, you can wire out your exchange and cash out. You can take your Bitcoins and sell it to someone. Just go ahead and just say, hey, I got X amount of Bitcoins, or X amount of dollars worth of Bitcoins. I like to cash out. Would you like to just buy it from me? You can do that too, and then you can use that to pay your grocery bills or your phone bill, whatever. The other option is, if you still want to be in the game, you still want to trade, you can just, after you've sold your positions in Bitcoin and gone into the US dollar, you can use Bitcoin. So in other words, you can buy Bitcoins and then either trade them on a peer-to-peer level for money and pay your bills, or you can just get a gift card or whatever other ways that you can convert your Bitcoins to a usable, whatever, prepaid card, gift card, cash, whatever you want to do. Exit out into the Coinbase, whatever it is. But my point is that if you're a user, the downward pressure is not a big deal, especially if you've already exited your Bitcoin positions, because another option, what you can do is, again, you can buy it, but often when you buy Bitcoins to be used for goods and services, you always end up buying just a little bit more than what you need. It never turns out to be exact amount because of the commissions and the fees in trading. So you kind of always buy a little bit more. Well, that extra amount, ends up adding up. And what you're doing is, I guess you're building up your stash of Bitcoins through that. It's like extra change, then you put it in a coin jar, and then next thing you know, you got a couple $1,000s worth of coins. Quarters, nickels, dimes, and all that. Well, same thing with this. If you're a user, you're buying things. You're buying the Bitcoin to be used to purchase goods and services, but there's always an extra amount that you always buy. Well, just hold on to that. I mean, whatever it is, $10, $5, you do it enough times, it actually adds up. And again, if you do it that way and its price still going down, you're averaging your cost going down. And you know, when the price swings back up, again, you can even if the price swings back up, if you already are in a US dollar position, you can just go ahead and just buy your Bitcoins, and again, use your Bitcoins to transfer the value to purchase goods and services, in which you would get your, you know, exact dollar. You know, if you already exit your position in Bitcoins and you're in a position of US dollar, you'll be getting, if you buy $10 worth of Bitcoins, and you know, with the $10 worth of Bitcoins, you buy $10 worth of food or clothes or whatever, you're buying $10 worth. So that part of being a user makes a big difference. It really does. So hopefully this helped you out. I'm talking long enough here, but you know, remember what I said. Just watch for the two averages. If they cross over, that's a buying signal. Also, if a price is higher than the last high, that's also a buying signal. And so watch out for those. Other than that, I guess feel free to leave a comment, like or dislike. Also do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned.